Our first sponsor is Vibe Nutraceuticals. Since 2020, I've been on a journey of connecting more intimately with the natural world and herbal medicine, especially to optimize my energy. As a holistic health practitioner, I respect the work-life balance so I can avoid burnout and honor my cyclical nature. With that said, it means I've been searching for plant allies and natural compounds to elevate my grand rising ritual to sustain energy all day. In the search has come Vibe Nutraceuticals. Vibe Up is a flavorless powder that acts as a coffee or tea additive, and it contains 8 boss lady allies. Whenever I add this to my half-calf coffee or a matcha, I feel like I embody the cross between Wonder Woman and Hermione Granger. A smooth focus that bypasses the jitters or crash of caffeine alone, an intense pump during my workouts while enhancing my recovery, and somehow it manages to magically increase my libido so I can not only work, but play, if you know what I'm saying. Make my new besties your new besties. Use code Isabelle10 at checkout. Let me tell you about Mana Yi. Last year, I had the most spectacular time at the Sisters Convergence. This year, it is happening again in Crete, Greece, September 23rd to October 2nd. This is an immersion for the sisters who are curious of ancient mysteries, their cosmic lineage, connecting deeper with nature, and dismantling their relationship with conditions. During this convergence last year, I went through so many different layers of peeling back the onion, of seeing myself for who I truly am, and it was the first time I felt safe to fully express myself in my fullness, in my total lioness energy. I cannot recommend this enough. Please go to paulinaprana.com to learn more about this soul-nourishing experience. Y'all, we made it to 100 podcast episodes. I honestly didn't have a clue where I was going to bring this podcast. I always thought it'd be really fun to hit 100. I'm really jazzed that I did. I want to thank y'all, my community, my listeners, with 2 different opportunities. The first one is BOGO Astrology Readings. Buy one, get one. Keep them both for yourself. Share one, share both. Whatever is clever. I love astrology readings because they're how I got started with personal development / therapy / finding my own answers to my own questions. That is how I give astrology readings. I help you understand how, although I can share with you my reflections, you share with me your life experience, and that is what makes the astrology reading come to life. Because without you, it would just be a moment in time. It happened, it went away. As if you had been a baby and then you died early on. There wouldn't be enough story for us to curate beyond because your opinion, your expression, your thoughts, they're not there. Secondly, 50% off my 4-pack one-on-one coaching sessions. In the past, this has helped people with pinpointing their blind spots while uncovering their limiting beliefs, patterns, and then shifting them. Dialing in nutrition habits once and for all. Establishing a personal value system, my very favorite of all time, number one thing that I do with everyone and anyone because it was so transformative for me. This is a deep dive over a week, once a week, bi-weekly, over 4 months, however feels best for you. Again, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you whether you're an OG or you're just beginning your Isabelle Wellman podcast journey. I appreciate you. I hope I see you in one of these opportunities. The link for both of them are below, and I'll catch you in the podcast. Welcome back to the Isabelle Wellman podcast. Today, we are talking about the Pisces full moon, as well as all of the various transits that are happening during this time. To begin, I will be going over when this event is happening, what we can look for during this time, what we might be able to expect, and how to navigate this in your own world. This event is happening on August 30th at 6:35 p.m. Pacific Standard Time or at 9:35 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is a full moon because the moon and the sun are opposite from one another in the sky at 7 degrees. This is the second full moon of the month, initiating Virgo season. This is what we call a blue moon when we have two full moons in 1 month. To also add, we are dealing with 6 different planets that are currently retrograde. If you want to do your own research, if you feel like learning about why maybe you are being affected in a certain way, you could look at Uranus retrograde in Taurus, Neptune retrograde in Pisces, Saturn retrograde in Pisces, or Pluto retrograde in Capricorn. I will say the big difference with retrogrades is they go retrograde all the time. Planets do this every year. If you really want to understand the ones that are directly impactful to your personal life, look at the inner planets, which are the sun, the moon, Venus, Mars, and Mercury. Those retrogrades are pretty useful to go back and either listen to on the podcast episode, go back into your email if you are subscribed to my newsletter, because I sent out emails for both of those. I just sent out the one for Mercury yesterday. I will be touching on that today here a little bit, but not as extensively as I did in the newsletter. So if you want the fast, the furious, the quick perspective, because all of this is my personal perspective and intuitive understanding of what is happening, my own interpretation, then sign up for it. The link is in the show notes. Otherwise, grab onto your pants and we'll get going. Like I said, I know this is a full moon because the sun and the moon are opposite of one another. The first aspect we'll talk about is the sun in Pisces, moon in Virgo pros. So what are the positive aspects of this energy? For me, it is gentle language with oneself, understanding with yourself, with situations outside of yourself, and situations you may be in with other people. It's scheduling rest periods throughout the day. It's compassion towards yourself and towards others. It's being timely. It's fertility. And not only in the birth realm, however, in how you produce or create or even consume, and how fertile that allows you to be moving forward in your day, month, week. Harmony with yourself and the outside world. Empowered to lead, to take the initiative, to be quick and on top of what you know is on your plate. It's having a self-pleasure practice with yourself, and or if you also have a partner with them that is healthy, that might be explorative, that is nurturing to what you are craving in that moment, which requires verbal communication. Moderation is a huge key for this full moon. This could be in your quote unquote diet. I do not believe in diets. I believe in intuitive eating and qualitarian eating. This could be with exercise, not overdoing it, also not underdoing it. This can be with your spiritual practice in addition to your daily chores. So how can you have a healthy balance of waking up on the rise and tending to your own garden, and then not taking all day to go tend the garden of the community, of your outside world? And it's a big this and that perspective and understanding of your life. An example I have of this that is personal, that is not a positive issue that I have dealt with during this retrograde already, was that, I had a conflict with some very close and indescribably important sisters. We came to an agreement and we're moving forward with a commitment, so forth. And I still feel bad about it. It's a this and that type of energy. We are allowed to make what is wrong right and still feel bad about it, although we have forgiven ourselves, although we have shut the drawer behind us. And it's not that we are letting it linger because we want to just soak in the sadness. Sometimes wounds do not heal overnight, depending on how impactful an event or situation you are undergoing in your life. If perhaps you did not check your water pipes within your house of life because you had whatever else going on, and maybe you thought you were on track, but now you're getting slapped with reality and your house is flooding, there's leaks all over, maybe there's one leak, maybe there's 10, maybe there's none, because you called the professional ahead of time to check everything. You had an inkling that something was going on. You had the little thought, that little voice creeping in your head. Call the plumber. Something's about to go down. You know better than this. Do it. It's been a while. You know what I mean. So that is the positives of this Virgo full moon. It's just having a lot of compassion. It's this emotional intelligence and awareness of our life, interconnected with the world around us, and how we manage ourselves, our time, our nervous systems, especially our nervous systems. This is a Mercury ruled archetype, Virgo. And if you think about Mercury, it is the planet of communication, of speed. It is the one that sticks closest to the sun. It loves being by the sun. It's always going forward and back, forward and back. That's why in a birth chart, if you're an astrologer, you probably know this. If not, the Mercury is a good best friend, is going to tell you when you're not being 100% on top of your shit. A good best friend is going to be there for you with the hard things to hear because they fucking love you. Because they love you. And if you have someone in your life like that, people like that, who love you enough to be real and honest and nitty gritty and like, hey, you're not holding up your end of the bargain. Or hey, we had this deal. What are you doing? Or hey, you made me feel X because of your X. Whether you're in action or you're extremely wild action. I think you're getting the picture. If you have shady friends who talk behind your back but are fake to your face, you totally feel that energy and it doesn't feel good. And that's what this can feel like. If you do not feel supported or like you're being stabbed in the back, check yourself first. Why might this be happening? And this is a big Pisces thing, but what are your boundaries? A boundary is not putting up with someone else's shit talk, not being on time, or they're overcompensating for whatever the case. It is simply saying, hey, clear communication. This is how I'm feeling. I really love you. I do not need you in my life if this is how you're operating. And if this is how you're going to continue to operate, thank you for all you've done for me, but I have to move on from this relationship. That's a boundary. That's simply looking at your life and prioritizing your values. It is re-evaluating where you are and where you want to go. Whoever is in your life, because people are a big component of this. Virgos like to be kind of solo. Pisces are infinite in this malleable energy of floating through space and running into people and in different places and merging with them, whether they rely heavily dependently on them or they can become interdependent of that person while hanging out and holding hands. Positive and negatives there. It's very crucial that we are as interdependent as we are in alliance with others during this time. I will wrap that up there. The cons of this full moon, I may have hit on some of them already. I have. It's being unkind to yourself or to anyone. That's a number one thing for Virgos, especially being hard on themselves, is perfectionism. It's having judgment that goes hand in hand with the first. When we're unkind, there's usually a judgment making us see and perceive life or ourselves in an unkind way. Overworking, and scheduling oneself or other people. If you're in charge of managing other people's workload and you're overworking someone and you notice it, but you're not doing anything about it, that's being a shitty human. Let's not do that. So overworking yourself means you're not allocating time in your day for rest. Rule of thumb, quick tip. However much time you spend working out, equally balance that with working in. So if you go to the gym, for example, you work out really hard for 1 hour, go home, decompress for 1 hour. Whether that is you are beginning to stretch at the end of the workout, you take a really nice, pleasurable shower, then you go home and you eat a really delicious meal, and then you read your book for the last 20 minutes. That could be working in. You're giving yourself nurture during that time. Back to the cons. Missing deadlines. Yes, I am superhuman, and that was my Mercury retrograde lesson. Missing deadlines. Another one is infertility. Whether it's because we are eating a lot of junk food or we are in a really toxic environment and our bodies are becoming infertile. There's too many xenoestrogens in our environment because of plastic touching our skin, on all of our devices, and the blender you buy. You know that smell the new blender makes because you have it going and you're like, wow, I really don't like that weird smell coming from the blender. Let me just shove all of my fruit in there and let me just get that nice toxic plasticky smell right in my smoothie. Delicious. You know what I'm talking about. With cleaning supplies, very toxic, very unsafe for us to be putting on our skin. You know those little cloths you use to wipe the counter, Lysol wipes? Not the best to be touching with your bare skin. The chemicals are soaking into your skin. Skin is the largest organ. Organs, they are very fluid, osmosis. Fluid comes in, fluid comes out. Moving on. Chaos in the mind. Virgo. I'm sorry, I had a spider connecting its web to my forehead. I just had to move it to the table. Very interesting. Hi, spider. Mercury, like I said, rules Virgo. So chaos in the mind, chaos in our communication, big time. If we are not clear, if we are not slowing down to make a game plan, to figure out step 1, 2, 3, planning the week ahead, having a general understanding of our finances, having an understanding of how we need to go about our operating system, what we are looking forward to in the future, in work, love, friendship, food, health, all of that. When you're in your flow state, it's because you're all in and present on the moment. When we're not in our flow state, coming back to the cons, we're disempowered because we're moving too fast, because we are not communicating clearly. We may be closing our throats off, whether it be from fear of sharing what is happening, our energy at this time, whether we're afraid of people not thinking we are capable of holding so many events or workloads. Maybe we won't feel worthy because someone will judge us that they can do it better, or so-and-so is able to do all of that and more. So we'll feel less than. So having that throat closed, not sharing what is happening with our lives, the heaviness, the burdens that we are holding, they can put a damper on life. And this could also be running away from problems, placing blame on others, not taking responsibility for what we are allowing into our life. I have 2 examples personally. One, I'm not going to say too many details because I do not want to throw anyone I know under the bus from like the situations I'll be talking about. But the one situation I had where I was the one who had to give this communication and perspective to this individual because it was affecting me in a negative way. So blank person acquired a new intimate relationship in their life. There's 2 parts of me, the side that's happy and then the side that feels disrespected. Not because of anything other than I communicated a request, the request was not met, And it's because of this distraction of this intimate party. The intimate other did not have anything to do with it. It's the person I communicated with who disrespected the request I had to talk about. And it was fucking uncomfortable. We do not like bringing up bad things or things that feel really sad to us, really heavy on us, to the person that caused it. We don't want to make them feel bad. In most cases, some of you are hard asses and you're like, yeah, no, I'm going to let you know that sucked and I really don't appreciate it. In my case, I have had a hard time communicating that in the past. I've gotten a lot better at it. So after it all happened, I had asked this person if we could chat. We had a heart to heart. I expressed all of my feelings. This person does not have to do anything about it. However, I told them what I needed to feel like I could move on from the situation or feel like I have been heard, seen, and acknowledged for, the disrespect that had been given to me. And we moved on. I'm still a little unhappy about the situation, was not fully healed. The issues are still pressing forward with that individual, but with other family members in my intimate family. And all we can do is keep communicating and being honest with love and respect. That's the big point. So that's boundaries 101 right there. Loving, respectful conversation, communicating, expressing our heart's truth, capital T, and not swaying what we're going to say because of what we think they're going to do as a reaction. It's being brutally honest and then letting whatever happen come up to the surface and moving on from that point. Presence is key. In the other situation, I was the dirtbag and I was disrespectful by my lack of action. Excuse me. I did not even have awareness of this inaction due to all of my busyness in these summer months. It was very abrupt and heart clenching, very yet it needed to happen and it was received. I took responsibility. I apologized. I basically talked about how I would move forward with the commitment, what I planned, what I have leading into this now, the energy I'm going to bring into it now from this point after the conversation. And it, all this can happen. And it's up to me to prove to myself that I am changing, that I'm shifting, that it has to be done now, not never, not later, not in the coming weeks, now, so that this can be a full locomotion train moving forward. And so maybe you are experiencing the one on the receiving end of disrespect, or you are the one giving the disrespect, whether you know it or not, whether you are not fulfilling an agreement or you are not fulfilling requests being asked of you or a commitment, or you are not clearly communicating, vice versa. So those are two ways you can see them and this energy in your life. If you happen to have let things slip under the radar in the last few months, weeks of summer, you might not be feeling anything at all. You might feel really on top of your game. Little things may be coming up ancestrally in the mother lineage. Certain wounds are coming up. In sisterhood, certain wounds could be coming up to heal. A wider awareness of your interchangeable energy with reality and then the dream world. You may be getting a lot of visions in your dreams or interpretations of your subconscious energy and how or what needs to be expressed during this time. Those are just a few other examples. I'm going to now move on. So I'm going to talk about the sun opposite Saturn. So at the screen, sun here, opposite Saturn at 7 degrees of the sun being opposite of Saturn, which is at 3. So a very tight orb. And what this can indicate is health issues, time to focus instead of time to be distracted, slowing down, This is a very heavy impact, and this can be all around the ego and your identity. It's the physical body. The sun is how people see you. It's how you shine. It's how you radiate. And Saturn is very stern. She is very on top of you. She wants you to do the right thing all the time. It is moral code of conduct. It is having the ability to see where you are not coming up to standard and then making a plan to get to the standard and then supersede the standard. It's a proving kind of energy in some way. Yet with the sun, it's balancing. All right, how are we going to stand up for what we want for ourselves to prove to ourselves, like I said earlier, that we are it, that we are growing and evolving into this new, better version of who we want to be? That is Saturn opposite the sun. The positive is if you're on top of your shit and you're ready, this can bring a lot of great opportunity to grow into who you want to be creatively, because it's in Pisces, with structure, with a game plan, with a logical census behind you, with support from friends, family. It can be very fertile. Your creations can really blow up if you allow them to. And this can be an emotionally positive impact if we're bringing in the moon conjunct Saturn opposite the sun. Sun, moon at 7 degrees, Saturn at 3 degrees, moon, Saturn are both in Pisces. This can have a very positive emotional effect. Feeling really good, feeling fulfilled, feeling like you're on track, feeling like you have limitless opportunity, that you're not just floating in space, but you have direction. You're following your North Star. On the other end of this could feel very daunting. You do not feel worthy enough. You do not have a game plan. There is not structure to what you're doing in life. There's not support. So emotionally, you may be feeling drained. Emotionally, you may not be catching on to the things that you want to do. Or it's life and you're cleaning the house to overcome anxiety. You may be challenging yourself to take on more work to distract yourself from the real issues at hand, which is you need to fucking de-stress and you need to take a break. You do not need the third and second job. You actually just need one single job part-time for the next month because your system is chronically overwhelmed and you need to take an ice bath, or maybe you need a massage, or maybe you just need to go out in nature. Maybe you need to follow a YouTube breathing show, whatever it is you need to do. So that is that aspect. The next one I want to talk to is Moon conjunct Saturn. I talked just briefly on that, yet more in depth. Intense emotions and experiences can come up. So things in the past, like I said earlier, with your ancestors, with the mother lineage, and then maybe conflicting with the father energy in your life could be at a heads butting, or you could be connecting dots on why it has worked out so well in your life, or maybe why there has been conflict in your life with these two energies. This also, like I said earlier, could be a slap of reality to your face. It could be bringing abrupt lessons into your life, opportunity to shed the false truths, and opportunities to activate someone into their growth edge who's outside of you, or someone could be activating you into your growth edge in a positive way if you or they are willing to abruptly and briskly adapt. It could be sudden epiphanies surrounding issues you've been dealing with, or epiphanies to solutions you've been seeking, and dream world messages. So that would be Moon intersecting with Saturn. Next, it would be energy with the ascendant. So not many people talk about this energy. However, I find it very fascinating because the ascendant is also the physical body more than the sun. The sun is how people perceive us. The ascendant is what our physical bodies are like. This is a very loose conjunction with Saturn, with the moon. Outside of this transit, transits are here to give us a dialogue for how we can operate the best during this said event. So during this blue moon, Pisces full moon, harvest moon, whatever name you want to call it, we are really being asked to slow down and to exercise our discipline. Breaking habits that are not positive in our life, hoarding, hanging on to, ignoring, run away from, overworking, those are hindering to our health. It's not sustainable. And if we want sustainability, we have to say yes to actions, to experiences, to communication that is going to allow us to continue moving forward with a healthy nervous system, which is remaining calm in the midst of chaotic events for the most part. Of course, we can have our moments of feeling down and overwhelmed, and it's knowing how to come back to our center within those moments. Going back deeply into this ascendant transit, it can also be becoming mindful of accidents, the prone of accidents, whether that's emotional accidents or physical, mental accidents, self-abuse. So toxic talking and thinking is self-abuse. If you're doing that, just know you're abusing yourself with that. Punishing ourselves, not forgiving ourselves, instead of forgiving, thus allowing ourselves to reclaim our personal identity and how we're moving forward with that. And this could be because of fear or disbelief of being able to grow into that version of ourselves. So what physical, practical answers could we give ourselves to prove that we are ready, that we can do it, that if we just put 20% of our effort towards the outcome, we would see how easy it actually is. Moving on from that transit, the next one I'm going to talk about is Sun in Virgo, sextile Jupiter in Taurus. And again, this is a looser sextile. I still count it when the 10-degree orb. What I have to say about this is sextiles are the yummiest of all the transits, along with trines. And they're some of the hardest to notice because of how easy or effortlessly the energy is available to us. So this is something you could focus in on to activate, to witness where in your life you could activate this energy to experience a silver lining within all of the emotional heaviness of this event. This could be establishing an appropriate or moderate amount of time for spiritual practices so you can benefit to this conflicting and responsible energy that may be lingering in the air. Taurus is an energy that revolves around sensations. It is all about sight, sound, verbal, touch, smell, and the sixth sense, our intuition, our gut feeling. And an example of how you could use these little meditation times, I'm talking 10 minutes. That's what you're allocating. 10 minutes to start your day off with a fresh bang, and then getting into the other material, practical events that need to get done in your day, and then maybe taking another 10-minute break, continuing on. You feel a little off, take a 5-10 minute break, continue on. One of the practices could be envisioning during a meditation, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. This could be setting yourself up in a nice calm space, you're grounded to the earth, perhaps you're outside, better yet, you're away from technology. If you want to listen and follow along to a guided meditation, I have a handful on YouTube, on my podcast. You can just go back into the show, through the shows, or Insight Timer is a really great app I like to use. YouTube has great guided meditations that are free, many available free resources out there during this age, which is fantastic for all of these different practices. You could go find one of those and you could dive into whatever aspect of life you feel like, whether it's a very particular situation that you are eager about, that you want solutions about. You could get into a really good feeling around that by envisioning how you want it to happen, who you are moving into that event, enjoying what will be served during that experience, and then embodying it and carrying in that feeling as far as you can throughout your day, tapping into it whenever you need a little boost of energy. Or you could do a 5 sense meditation. It'd be worth your while for keeping your nervous system in check and for giving you a timeout from destructive thoughts and impulsive decisions, especially if you feel overwhelmed, anxiety, and like emotionally heavy, and you're stressing yourself out for really no reason. It's just taking a deep breath and bring yourself back to reality. So we can go through this really quickly right now because it does not take long. Wherever you're at, whether you're driving, you're sitting, take a deep breath. Exhale. Continue to take mindful inhales and exhalations. Allow yourself to become present in the moment you're in, feeling whatever the air feels like on your skin, how your skin feels, how your car steering wheel may feel, the grass might feel, whatever and wherever you are. And the first thing you want to do is to name 5 things that you can see around you. I'm going to give you that time to do that now. Great. After you've named those 5 things, you now want to go into 4 things that you can touch with your physical body. You can go on and name those things now. Fantastic. Next, you're going to name 3 things you can hear. And go ahead and list those now. Next, I invite you to see 2 different things you can smell. And you can name and experiment with what that is now. Last but not least, I invite you to name 1 thing that you taste. And you can go ahead and say that now. Great. So that entire practice took us less than 3 minutes. You can do that in your car. You can do that walking. You can do that while you're hanging out with a girlfriend. You can do that whenever you need to. You're in a moment with your boss and you need a second. Excuse yourself for a minute, drill through that, bring yourself back down to reality, and move forward with a realistic, creative solution that you could not think about while you were in an irregulated nervous system moment. So there you go. I hope you feel better. We're going to move on. So shake yourself awake if you can. Give yourself a couple fast breaths. Let's continue forward. Okie dokie. Those are honestly the major components of this full moon. So I will go over that again. We have the sun in Pisces, moon in Virgo. Being gentle with yourself, scheduling rest periods, and working in harmony on a timely manner, relishing your fertility, cooking, creating, singing, having a creative solution, contemplating, self-pleasure, moderation. Any of those things will lead you to feeling empowered and what you are doing in your life and where you're going without overstressing yourself. It is being aware that, you might fall into perfectionism, judgment, being unkind to yourself. You might not be talking about what you need to who you need it from, closing your throat, which closes your yoni. When we do not feel safe, the throat closes. The throat, vocal cords, they highly resemble the look of the yoni, which is inside of the vagina. It is connected. If you hum, place your hand down by your pubic bone and hum. You feel that going all the way down towards your pubis. It is connected. It's intertwined. So if you feel like you have not been able to feel sexually aroused or intimate with your partner, with yourself, could be because you're holding too many things in. Another loose conjunction was the ascendant to Saturn, the moon. And this can be a big, big invitation to slow down, exercise your discipline. Where do you really need to hanker down? Where can you accelerate? What needs your attention right here, right now, your present focus? How can you be mindful of your physical body during this time? Not going in for the emotional haircut to the bangs. Girls, drop the damn scissors. Let's just drop the scissors. Leave that to the professional. Instead, deep breaths, go away from the mirror, and go outside. Begin to appreciate everything that is around you outside and how you feel in the sun, or running, or reclaiming your power as an individual to not make impulsive decisions. Then we have Sun opposite Saturn. This can be health issues, a time to focus, slowing down. Big point there, slowing down, slowing down. Saturn with the sun, Saturn with the ascendant, Saturn with the moon, slow down. Your emotions and your nervous system is going to thank you. This is a really big, heavy energy. This requires boundaries. This requires you speaking. This requires you to make sure you're connected to the earth. Saturn is ruled by Capricorn. Pisces wants to float in space and dilly-dally and get lost in the sauce. There's a time and place. So if you're going on a plant medicine journey, make sure it's structured. You have intention. You have questions. You have things emotionally you want to explore within yourself. Maybe you want to explore the connection with your mother and father. Perhaps you want to explore your ancestral lineage. You want to explore the childhood wounds. Fantastic. Have a game plan. And then we have the moon conjunct Saturn. And this is a very quick energy. However, it's intense. Emotions and experiences can make us feel 100 different type of ways. It's a slap of reality to the face. It's abrupt lessons, abrupt realities, shedding false truths. It could be activating yourself into your growth edge, someone else activating you into your growth, or you activating someone into their growth, allowing epiphanies to come as solutions. Moving on, you have Sun sextile Jupiter. Sun in Virgo, Jupiter in Taurus. All about pleasure, all about sensations. You are really given a gift to expand if you take the time, slow down, give yourself credit, and to enjoy life. Whoa, Virgos out there, enjoy life slowly. I understand. This might be a big ask, but when you do slow down and you tend to your innate world, your close family, your animals, your finances, your career, what you value, the principles around how you operate with other people in collaboration, by yourself, it's really going to allow you to expand and receive gifts. This is a very giving and nurturing and lovely energy. Spend time outside, appreciate, like I said, where you're able to go out and look at the tree and go, wow, That tree is gorgeous. Look at that trunk. I love how it twists. It's so beautiful, the different patterns. It kind of looks like a snake skin, the different patterns. There's the leaves. I love how the light hits all and every single leaf differently and individually. Some are brighter, some are darker, some are getting that contrast of light where they're light on one side, dark on the other. There's edges. Some are dancing in the wind. The wind is blowing through them. It's really melodic. It's really relaxing to witness how the breeze looks like it feels so good to this tree and the sound the tree makes. So really diving deep. And if you're watching the YouTube, I was looking at a tree outside, a beautiful tree I have in my yard. So if you saw me looking off in space, I'm not losing myself in the sauce. I was looking at a tree. And that can make you feel grounded and it can make you feel better because you're in the present moment. Like that tree is here and now. You are seeing it with your eyes. You are not seeing the conflict you had with the girlfriend or the boyfriend or the parent or the boss. You're in the now. The now is very practical. Moving onward, for starters, this energy could look like delusion, idealism, running away, lack of action, even if it feels like you're taking action, thoughts in a negative loop pattern, unable to clearly see, unable to see where you're going in the future. Everything might feel like, or you feel incapable of decision making. You feel like there's a million different ways you want your life to go, and all of them feel intangible. This could be unable to clearly see in the sense of communication or logistical mistakes, or that you are restricted in your voice. It could be not wanting to look at yourself and go through the healing process of the past, of your wounds, of why you operate how you do, and gaining emotional awareness of how you could better operate in all the practical matters of your life. It's all about reevaluating. Mercury in retrograde in Virgo, which I'll talk about, deals with a lot of the words, re-evaluating, rejuvenating, regaining, and then Mars in Libra opposing this energy. However, with Mars and Neptune here, it's a little bit of, are we doing this or are we not? Are we fully committed or are we kind of questioning what we're doing? Is this going to look good or is this going to look bad? Can I make it look good? Probably not. Can I make it look good? Probably. And it's this back and forth, in and out, pretty on the outside, but it's all messy on the inside. Or maybe you have it all together on the inside, but somehow it's coming out all wrong. Confusing energy. So that's what I want to say about that. If you are feeling any of those ways, slow down and create a game plan for yourself. A lot of these answers will now come with talking about Mercury retrograde. So Mercury RX is learning how to relax and allocate time to enjoy pleasure. And once you establish this, you and your nervous system will be a lot better off. And that's just a general for Virgos through and through. Slow down, take the load off, enjoy your life. Can you have security without working yourself to the bone? Can you redefine security in your own terminology? And what does that even look like and feel like for you? Mercury is all about our thoughts, communication. It's the mind. And I invite you to test out the waters of feeling. What does it feel like to slow down? What does it feel like to enjoy pleasure? What does it feel like to establish the structure within yourself? And I've said this, but as Mercury is the ruler of the archetype Virgo, the speedy intelligence, understanding how something operates, the first go around, all the systems, the high standards, the judgment, they all have positive and negative effects. It's all up to you to come into interdependence with yourself and to witness, hey, I'm kind of being a bitch to myself today. let me go back and be kind. Let me stop, reword the sentence, compliment myself, and move onward. Do not get so wrapped up in it that it just eats your soul away. Correct and move on. Correct and move on. Forgive, move forward. It can, like I said earlier, it's this and that. You can forgive and still feel a little bad, but keep moving on and feeling good. You can't be both at the same time, but you can feel bad and then feel good about it. To every retrograde, there are 4 phases. So there's the pre-phase, the retrograde itself, the direct or shadow phase era, and then the shadow phase being over. The pre-phase for this Mercury retrograde in Virgo started on the 9th of August, and this is getting a taste of what may need your attention during the actual retrograde period. So looking back at photos, maybe looking back at the commitments you made, at how you communicated with other people, how you reacted to certain events, how you made decisions during this event. And then the retrograde started on the 23rd of August. And this is the era where you want to be on your A game. If you haven't been, communication, scheduling, and contracts will be demanding your attention. If you have been, you probably will not feel any hiccups. Life will feel pretty mundane. Then Mercury will go direct. So it's moving, quote unquote, forward. And the shadowy phase begins. That starts on September 15th. And this is all about keeping your awareness open and ensuring that you have a game plan moving forward if you were fixing the small details within your day. Virgo is very detail orientated. Pisces is big picture, universal. So with Mercury being Virgo, you want to get very intricate with what you are focusing on, what you're giving your energy to, your time to. How is it going to be useful in the weeks leading or moving on from now? And how is it going to personally affect your identity? And then the shadow phase is over. This ends on the 29th of September. And hopefully, if you were fixing things, you've grown out of this. And the opportunity of integration with improvement, where you fell short, is here. You're gifted that gift. You gifted it to yourself. Or, like I said, nothing really happened. No hiccups. Life was mundane. You're the golden child. You'll keep on keeping on. Life is easier moving forward with communication, travel, technology, emailing, contracts, all the things. Mercury is on the move. And that's simply the phases. And my advice is, I shared my personal experiences with you earlier, so you gathered enough from that. And if you're currently fixing something, to reiterate, that means you've been putting off whatever needed clear communication and or more of your attention earlier this summer, within that early August time, up until the 23rd. And regardless of the why, it's now time to fully show up, apologize, reclaim, and make what is wrong right. Prove to yourself that you can be what you're going into, that new version of you, because that is what is going to show other people you are serious, that you have learned, that you are grateful for the second chance. Or if you're feeling on track and not having to go back and fix any holes in your water pipes, you stay cleared of whatever area of life, the house within your astrology chart, your personal one, that Mercury is going through in Virgo. And because you stayed up to date, you hired the professional plumber, you're good to go. No problems. Pretty easy peasy and simple like that. It's nothing to be terrified of. Overall, I think it makes the energy of this full moon a really beneficial energy. Yes, we might run away from solving problems and attention to detail. But if we do the opposite and we run towards what we need to fix, if we go head first into the discomfort, my favorite thing, said no one, if we can have the bravery to do that, Venus in Leo, to reclaim where it is we want to go, and we are proud. One, we can be proud of where we are going because we've cleaned up the mess. And two, we can let go of our pride in the sense of owning up to the mistakes or ways that we've made others unintentionally feel. We're on the right path. Having tension in life is the golden snitch. It is the golden ticket in the candy bar to Willy Wonka's palace. Y'all, tension is gold. If we did not have tension in life, it wouldn't be worth it. It'd be boring. It would be uneventful. We would not learn anything. We would snooze all day long. It would be horrible. I wouldn't want to be here. Tension makes it worthwhile. And the more tension you have to undergo in your lifetime, I think the better person you end up becoming if you seek the support needed, if you take on the challenge. I know that if tension is too much, overwhelming, anxiety infusing, and we do not seek the right resources, then we can become addicted, we can become suicidal, we can become engrossed in the depression, we can become end all be all, life sucks. And I'm never saying that just putting a smiley face sticker on everything is the way. That's not the way. It is persevering and going into the depths of your being and asking yourself the greater question of, what do I want to make out of this situation? Who do I want to become out of this situation? Do I want it to define me, or am I going to define it? If you are a part of the newsletter, I shared the full experience of one of the issues I briefly mentioned earlier in the beginning of the podcast. And that took a lot of me shoving my pride to the side, owning up, being done running away unintentionally, and taking action from my lack of action. Because my lack of action, although it didn't feel like I was doing anything wrong in the distant universal running of my life, so to say, to the very individual detailed people who were a part of my life in this committed way, felt very confused and like I wasn't showing up and disrespected, as they rightfully should have. And all we can do is apologize, accept the responsibility of what the situation was, and realize, wow, I made people feel that way, and I do not like that. I made myself feel this way. I do not like that. I can change that by stepping up, taking a grip of my life, Saturn, opposite sun, conjunct moon, and move forward with this responsibility, with this new version, with belief, with the commitment to myself that I can do it, that I am worthy, that I get to set the stage, that I can set the rules, that I can be this creative and wonderfully expansive human being if I choose it. That is where I'm going to leave us off today. Thank you so much for tuning in, for listening to another episode of the Isabelle Wellman podcast. In the next few weeks, I'm going to be doing some very mini episodes that are very intricate with astrology. I've never done that. I feel like now is a good time. I'm preparing to leave for Greece in a little less than a month now. And you still have until Friday to meet me in Greece. There is a link in the show notes. If you're in the newsletter, you have all the information there. Last year changed my life. I'm now going back as a photographer for the event. I'm very excited for this. It is a long time coming, and it really feels like the fresh new version of me that I am growing into. I'm so thankful. I'm very blessed. If you have a hungry taste for growth like I do, and you happen to be a female, go check it out. Again, thank you so much. I'm excited to record all these little episodes about astrology, about the houses, the planets, the signs, and more distinct detail. And I will catch you on the next episode.